I want to talk about the thing that has cost me more money, more sleep, and more peace than any failed launch or lost deal ever has: trust. Specifically giving it to the wrong people. Because here's what nobody tells you when you're building something. The thing that takes you down usually is not the market. It isn't the competition, it isn't the economy, it's the person that you let in. The partner, the employee, the vendor, the advisor, the one you handed a piece of yourself to, and they use it to bleed you. I've watched it happen to me. I've watched it happen to quite a few people that I've personally worked with, and I've seen it destroy people who built real substantial things and then wrote down everything they learned about what leadership actually costs when the people you trusted turn out to be the wrong ones, and also have taken from my own personal experience. Now here's the part that almost everybody gets wrong about trust. They think it's a feeling, but it's not. Trust is a transaction, and every time you trust someone, you are handing them a knife and betting that they won't stick it in your back. And most business owners hand out knives like they're business cards. So in this video, I'm gonna break down what trust actually is on a mechanical level, the specific people who will exploit it on your way up, the framework that I use now to decide who earns it, and one old idea about a poison drink that will change the way that you look at every person in your life. Stick with me to the end because that idea is the whole point. So let's get into it. Let me first redefine trust for you, because the way you were taught to think about it is exactly why you keep getting burned. Most people think trusting someone means I believe they're a good person. It's not trust, that's hope. And hope is not a strategy. Here's what trust actually is, mechanically. Okay, trust is the act of making yourself punishable by another person. When you trust someone, you are voluntarily giving them the ability to hurt you. When you tell a partner your real financial situation, you have handed them something that they can use against you. When you give someone access to your accounts, your clients, your systems, you've made yourself vulnerable to them. When you sign a deal on a handshake and a good feeling, you have made yourself punishable by someone who has not earned it yet. Trust is not a warm, cozy feeling. Trust is the exposure. And this is why it's so dangerous, because the people who betray you almost never do it on day one. That'll be too obvious. It works the exact opposite way. You give someone a little exposure and they don't hurt you. So you give them a little bit more and they don't, and a little bit more, until eventually the incentive to betray you gets so big that they finally take it. And when they do, one single act of betrayal erases years of goodwill in an instant. That's why marriages that end after 20 years end over one thing. That's why the partner that you trusted for 3 years wipes you out in 3 days. Trust is built with 1,000 small deposits, and it can be destroyed with one withdrawal. I learned this through my own experience and also watching someone hand their entire business and their checkbook to guys who had never run a business in their lives. Too trusting, too naive, gave the keys to people who hadn't earned them. It nearly ruined this person financially. And afterward, a successful business owner hit them with a single sentence that stuck for years. You entrusted your business and your checkbook to guys who have never owned or even ran a business before. And this matters for you no matter what you build, because every business is built on trust exposure. You trust people with your money. You trust them to represent your name, your reputation. You trust partners to split things fairly. You trust customers to pay you. Every one of those is a knife that you've handed to someone. And the question is never, do I trust them? The question is, have they earned the right to be trusted, or am I just hoping? Which brings me to the exact people who will exploit that hope if you let them. Let me walk you through the characters that you're gonna meet on your way up, okay? Because I met every single one of them, and they show up in almost the exact same costumes every single time. The first one is the connected guy. This is the person who shows up early and sells you hard on how important they are, how many people they know, how they can open doors with exposure and opportunities. And here's your first red flag. They're available immediately. I've seen this exact play run before. Guys who bragged about how huge deals they did decades ago, but when you looked at their actual lives, one was an independent consultant and the other taught at a community college. Successful people are freaking busy. It's hard for them to make time for you, let alone drop everything the second that you call. Real mentors give before they ask. They connect you to people because good people like helping good people. The hustlers sell you on their importance up front because that's the whole product. The second type of person is the Trojan Horse advisor. This is the most sophisticated manipulation in business because it's nearly impossible to spot it in real time. It only becomes visible in hindsight by design. They come in to your life, to your business, offering something genuinely valuable: expertise, connections, credibility. And here's the move that disarms you. They turn down compensation early on. Feels noble? It's not. It's an investment into your trust. They study you, your insecurities, the language that you respond to, and they mirror it right back so it feels like they just get you. Your walls come down, you start including them on bigger conversations, and you stop evaluating them, which was the entire point. Then agreements come out, shit starts to get real, and the terms feel completely disconnected from the relationship that you thought you had. They start making demands. That whiplash is not paranoia. It's your gut recognizing two different people just showed up. The control provisions are the tell. That's the control of a partner with the safety of an advisor. A real advisor's contract reflects the relationship. A Trojan Horse advisor's contract reveals it. The plan that was there the whole time. The third is the partner who doesn't do the work. This one's painful because it starts with a handshake and a dream. I've watched a partner come in for $1 million, and the second the hard labor started, once it was time to actually build the thing, they freaking vanished. Showed up maybe one day a week to wander around and dream up ideas, then eventually melted down and disappeared entirely. Every industry has this person, fired up when it's exciting, gone when it actually comes time to do the work. Ownership is not a feeling, it is a behavior. The fourth is the employee that you hired as a rescue mission. This one I've done quite a few times. Early on, I used my company like a therapeutic rehab facility for people who needed a break. I hired out of compassion and potential instead of current capability and skill sets. Your compassion is not a hiring strategy. When you hire someone because you feel bad for them instead of because they're the right fit, you're not helping them, and you're definitely not helping your business. You're quite literally handing a knife to someone who's already unstable. And the fifth is the friend who wants credit for a pipeline that you built. These are the people who make one introduction or share one idea, and then they feel entitled to a cut of everything that you built with your own blood, money, risk, and sleepless nights. There is no monopoly on good ideas. Everyone has ideas. What's rare, what actually gets rewarded, is the person willing to take the risk, do the work, and drag the idea across the finish line. Protect what you've built from the people who want to fill their bucket from a pipeline that you've dug. Now, here's what every one of these people have in common, and it points directly to the most important pattern that I've ever learned about trust. So here's the pattern, okay? In the beginning, everyone's excited. Everyone's on board. Everyone's your biggest supporter. And you need to understand why. It's because in the beginning, there's no real risk on the table when you're first starting off. Nobody knows what to expect yet. It costs nothing to be loyal when nothing's at stake. It's easy to be your partner when the business is fun idea in a group chat. It's easy to be a great employee when the work is exciting and it's new. It's easy to be a noble advisor who doesn't even want to get paid because they just want to help and they care about you and your family when the paperwork hasn't even come out yet. The beginning is a costume party. Everyone gets to wear whatever the character they want because none of it is being tested. But then one of two things happens. Either things get hard or you start making real money. Maybe both. And that is the moment the masks start to come off. That is when you find out who people actually are. When the going gets tough, when the money runs low, when you can't make payroll, when the work gets brutal and there's no glory in it, watch who disappears. And here's the one most people don't expect. When you start making real money, watch who suddenly feels entitled to it. Watch whose loyalty quietly turns into resentment. Watch who starts calculating what they think they are owed. Success surfaces people's true colors just as fast as failure does, sometimes faster. And I promise you this, the person who's solid when it's exciting and easy tells you nothing. The person who is solid when it's hard and honest when there's suddenly a lot of money on the table, that tells you everything. So how do you filter for that before it costs you? That's the framework that I want to give you next. Before I give anyone real trust exposure now, whether it's a partner, an employee, a vendor, or a customer, I run them through two questions. Question number one, do they have a track record of protecting what they were given? And question number two, does burning me cost them more than protecting me? If both are a yes, then I move forward. If either is a no, I keep the knife. Let me break down why these two questions work. The first one is about history. Have they ever had a knife pointed at your back and chosen not to use it? This is the entire reason trust but verify exists. You don't extend full trust on day one. You extend a little, watch what they do, and calibrate. The mistake almost everyone makes is they meet someone, they get a good vibe, right? And they just hand over full exposure immediately. Yeah, dude, let's partner on a business together. This sounds great. Let's freaking go. Full access, full transparency, and partnership with no fence around it. And then they act shocked when things suddenly go sideways. Trust should be earned in increments, not granted in one lump sum. A small project before a big one. A trial before a commitment. A conversation before a contract. And you watch. Did they protect what you gave them? Did they show up? Did they do what they said they would do when they said it and the way they said it? And I have to be direct here, because this cost me. I once brought someone in and took them completely at their word about who they were and what they had done. Great stories, impressive background. I never asked for a single piece of documentation. I just trusted them. I was like, sick, dude, that's awesome. Turned out, still to this day, I have no idea how much of it was even true, if at all, and I highly doubt most of it was. And it created a mess that would have blown back on my entire operation. That was my failure, not theirs. I accepted someone's presentation of themselves as proof of who they actually were. So when someone tells you who they are, believe them, but verify. Get the documents, get the references, watch the small exposures before you grant the big ones. The second question is about the future. Does burning you cost them more than protecting you? Let me explain what I actually mean by that, because it's the part that people miss. People are, at their core, self-interested. It's not cynicism, it's just reality of humans. Everyone, including you and me, is constantly running a quiet, mostly subconscious calculation. What do I gain from this versus what do I risk? And most of the time, when someone protects you, it's not because purely they're a saint. That doesn't happen, as badly as you want to believe it does. It's because protecting you is also the better deal for them. Staying loyal keeps the paycheck, keeps the relationship, the reputation, the potential, the future upside. So the math, it works in your favor, and they do the right thing. Here's the trap though. That math is not fixed, it changes. And the most dangerous moment in any relationship isn't when you're dealing with an obviously bad person. Those are easy to spot. It's when a genuinely good person suddenly hits a moment where the short-term payoff of betraying you becomes bigger than the long-term value of keeping you. Let me make this pretty concrete for you, okay? Say you've got a loyal employee who knows your systems and your clients inside and out. For 2 years, staying loyal is the best deal they have, so they're rock solid. Then one day, a competitor offers them double the salary and a cut if they bring your biggest client with them. In that single moment, the incentive to burn you just became bigger than the incentive to protect you. And a person who was loyal for 2 years can rationalize their way into a betrayal in an afternoon because the math flipped. That is why you cannot just find good people and hope. Good people betray you when the incentive gets big enough and the consequence gets small enough. So the real skill is not judging character in a vacuum. It's asking, have I structured this relationship so that even in that tempting moment, burning me is still the dumber financial and personal decision? Because if betraying you always costs them more than staying loyal, they'll almost always stay loyal, not out of pure virtue, but because you made loyalty the obvious smart choice. You pay your best people well enough that leaving is a downgrade, not an upgrade. I learned this from watching someone who, through going broke, through missing their own paychecks, never once missed payroll for their people, because loyalty flows toward whoever protects your livelihood. You put fences up in your agreements, clear terms, defined ownership, not because everyone's a criminal, but because a fence built before the dispute is a boundary. Fences make for great neighbors. A fence built after is a wall. And by then, it's too late. And you never put yourself where one person can take you down. Being the only magic and the only muscle with no systems, no partners, no infrastructure means if something happens to that one person, or if they turn, the whole thing dies overnight. Diversify your exposure so no single betrayal is fatal. Track record tells you what they've done. Incentive math tells you what they'll do when it gets hard or when the money shows up. And you need both. Okay, now at this point, I know what you guys might be thinking. So the answer is to trust no one. Wall everybody out. And this is the most important part of this entire video, okay? So I want you to lean in because there's an old idea that I consistently come back to that reframes all of this. Because the truth about the hardest part of building anything is not the strategy, okay? It's not industry acumen. It's not in the marketing. It's not the money. It is, always will be the people. And there's a reason for that most people never say out loud. The hardest part about building something is not the strategy, it is the people. Because the moment you build a team, you hand a piece of your name to someone else. Your reputation, the thing you spent years earning, is suddenly in the hands that aren't yours. And here's what should keep you honest about this. You can control your effort. You can control your standards. You can control your output. But you cannot control another person's character. That's completely outside of your grip. And you're betting your name on it every single time you let someone in. So how do you decide who's worth that? There's this old idea that I keep coming back to, and I want to share it with you. Listen very closely. Someone who would never think to poison a drink will happily accept one. It never even crosses their mind that they could be poisoned, because doing it to someone else is so far outside of who they are that the possibility doesn't even exist in their head. But the person who is capable of poisoning others refuses every glass. They're suspicious of every hand that it comes from, because they assume everyone is exactly what they are. And trust works the same way. The people most worth trusting are often the ones, unfortunately, who get burned, because trusting is simply in their nature. It doesn't occur to them to betray, so it doesn't fully occur to them that they could be betrayed. And the people who trust no one, they're usually telling on themselves. Their paranoia is not wisdom, it's a mirror. When someone assumes everyone is out to cheat them, ask yourself why cheating is the first thing on their mind. Here's where most people take the wrong lesson though. They hear that and they think, okay, great, so I should just become suspicious of everyone, refuse every glass, and protect myself. And that's backwards, okay? Because cynicism is just a slower way to lose. If you wall everyone out, sure, no one poisons you, but no one also pours you anything worth drinking either. No real partnerships, no loyal team, no real genuine relationships with any depth. You build a fortress so tight that nothing great can ever grow inside of it. The same walls that keep the pain out, it keeps everything out. So the lesson, here's the lesson. And I had to learn this the long way and the hard way, believe me. The answer is not to stop trusting. The answer is to be deliberate. Earn it slowly. Give your trust like it's expensive, because it is. Extend it in small increments. Watch what people do with it and let them prove themselves before you hand over the big exposure. And when someone finally shows you who they are, whether good or bad, believe them the first time. Don't rationalize it. Don't hand out the fifth chance. When their pattern reveals itself, honor what it is telling you. Stay the kind of person who can accept the drink. Stay open. Stay generous. Stay the person who gives before they ask and helps others because it's the right thing to do. That openness is not weakness. It's the exact thing that lets you build something real with other people. Just get wiser about whose hand it comes from. That is the whole game. Don't become the person at the party refusing every glass, suspicious of the room, incapable of connection. Be the person who can raise a glass with the right people and has the discernment to know which people those are. So here's how I actually think about this now. Trust is a weapon. And like any weapon, it's only as good as your discipline and who you point it at. Give it too freely, and you're gonna get gutted by the connected guy, the Trojan Horse advisor, the partner who won't work, the rescue hire, and the leech who wants credit for a pipeline that you dug yourself. Give it too rarely, and you become the person refusing every drink, the one who trusts no one and without realizing it, is telling the whole room exactly what they're capable of. And remember the pattern that ties it all together. Everyone is loyal in the beginning, when there's no risk and nothing's been tested. The truth shows up later, when it gets hard or when the money gets real. That's the moment you find out who someone actually is. Same principle goes in your marriage, your relationships, personally. So don't hand over your name to anyone based on how they act when it's easy. The answer isn't more trust or less trust. It's deliberate trust, track record plus incentive alignment. Small exposures before big ones. Trust but verify. Fences built before the dispute. Give it like it's expensive. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Because at the end of the day, the quality of your business and the quality of your life will be determined by the quality of the people that you let inside. You cannot control another person's character, but you can control how much of your name you hand them and how fast. Choose them with the same discipline that you choose someone to stand next to you in a fight. Because in a lot of ways, that's exactly what they are. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. I'm glad you stayed around this long. It tells me that it was probably pretty valuable, or you fell asleep at your computer and you're gonna wake up later. I hope it's not the latter. I put videos out like this all the time. And most importantly, if you're a videographer, you want to scale your agency, you want to do it the right way, and you're tired of paying dumbass gurus that have never actually done anything in their life and don't have good results, go ahead and click the link below, book a call with our team, and we'll see if we're a good fit. Or if you don't trust me yet, totally understandable, click the link below. We also have a link to a free training where we just show you exactly how we are getting videographers to multi-5-figure months with our flywheel system, and then you can choose for yourself if it sounds valuable enough. Either way, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next video.